Hello everyone. I'm doing something a little bit different this week. I've had my SNES Classic Edition for over a year now, and some time ago I modded it to add more games. Because if you're like me, you love the Super Nintendo, and you might feel like, 21 games really isn't a lot, so I added about 40 to it because, well, I didn't want to go like overboard and add like a shit ton to it, plus I was only going to do games that I know I would play. I might do a few more or whatever, but, yeah, two reasons I wanted to do this was, well, Nintendo is going to be discontinuing these mini consoles at some point, and, well, probably because they want everyone to get the Switch Online, which I'm not going to get into that right now, and the other thing is, a few weeks ago, I think I'm saying his channel name right, Moescato Bot Collects, he did a video like this showing off what was on his SNES Classic Edition, so this is somewhat of a response video, but let me just go through the games and such. So, we have ActRaiser, which is a classic. I kind of remember that from when I was a kid. Of course, you gotta have Battletoads on here, so we have Battletoads Double Dragon and Battletoads in Battle Maniacs. I don't know why this one, the background is white, but it still plays fine. I'll just show you that real quick, just so I can prove to you. Yeah, like that. Like I said, the background for the display was translucent for some reason. You know, all these games run fine on this NES. Yes, we get it. Thank you. Alright, there we go. Yeah, that's nice. A Bobo. Gotta love those beat 'em up sound effects. Alright, well, you get the idea. Dun! Can I close that? No, okay. Well, anyway. Blackthorn. That's a classic. It's kind of like, Flashback Out of This World, so it's a little slow-paced, so to speak, but it's a really good game. I still enjoy it. Booger Man, a pick-and-flick adventure. I have a soft spot in my heart for these, like, mediocre platformers that, from back in the day. Choplifter, Choplifter 3, hold on, there's another one I'm going to show you, because this is definitely a hidden gem. It's a simple game, but it's so much fun. Even my sister and stepfather love this game. It's almost like Defender in a way, that's the way I look at it. The goal of each level is to rescue these hostages, or POWs. You can shoot enemies and stuff. You actually have missiles and bombs and stuff that you can use as well, but I'm not gonna go too deep into details right now. Thanks, bud. You can change the background of the frame too. I like, I kind of switch back and forth. I like the ones that are changed colors and stuff, but I also like this one because it looks like an old TV. So that's Choplifter 3. Chrono Trigger, of course, because I know a lot of people are disappointed by the fact that this wasn't on here, but I have a theory. Maybe it's because since these little mini consoles weren't necessarily, because they were targeted more towards the casual audience, it's possible that they don't really know about this game. It's not as well known as something like Final Fantasy. Like I said, it's just a theory. Contra 3, which was on the system to begin with, my favorite game in the series. Donkey Kong Country, that was on there. Donkey Kong Country 2, that one wasn't on there. I added that because I was shocked that they only had the first game. Like, never played the third one because, yeah. Earthbound, that was on there. Earthworm Jim, God, I love that game. I added that. This was already on here, F-Zero, of course. Final Fantasy 2, which is actually 4. I added this because I have a soft spot in my heart for this game. I have different versions of this game. Like, I have it on the PS1 and the DS, but I don't know. This one is a lot simpler, this version, I feel like, but I love this game, so I had to put it on there. That was already on there, of course, Final Fantasy 3. Final Fight 2, added that. Ghoul Patrol, which is actually a sequel to Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Hyperzone. Very good game. It's a rail shooter. And the graphics are a lot like F-Zero. It's a good game, actually. Inspector Gadget, because obviously you gotta have some licensed games on there. The reason I did this just because was for like, oh, what the hell. Around the time that I was planning to mod this, I watched a review on this game, and I was like, oh, that looks kind of fun, so just for the hell of it, I kind of put it on there. I loved the cartoon when I was a kid. Nowadays, I still kind of enjoy it, not as much as I did when I was a kid, but whatever. It's a good platformer. Killer Instinct, of course, you know, much like Battletoads, Killer Instinct is owned by Rare, so obviously this wasn't going to be on here, but it's, you know, a great fighter. Not as great as the arcade, but it's still a good port. King of Dragons, which is a medieval-style beat-em-up. Unfortunately, this was the best cover art thing I could find for the thing, but whatever, it works. I love that game. King of the Monsters 2, another game. I love that game. My neighbor and I played the crap out of that when we were kids. Kirby Superstar, yeah. Both these, Kirby's Dream Course, which is okay. It's kind of like a golf game. I remember that from when I was a kid because my brother rented. Both of these were on the Switch. Lost Vikings, that's a classic. Mega Man Soccer. I remember my brother rented this when we were kids. It's not a great game, but I don't know, I kind of like it. I think it's for what it is, it's somewhat enjoyable. A little slow paced, but I just always thought it was kind of cool how you could play as a lot of the Robot Masters, and like I said, I kind of enjoy it. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. Mega Man X, which is classic, I love that game. One of my favorite games of all time that was already on the system. Metal Warriors, very, very good game. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, you know, single player beat 'em up, but it's a good one. Mortal Kombat 2, because that's my favorite out of the ones with like the digitized actors. Again, it has the white background thing, but it plays fine. NBA Jam Tournament Edition, because obviously you gotta have some sports games on there. Not a big sports fan, but still nice to have them on there. So, you know, that along with Mega Man Soccer. Ninja Warriors, I'm gonna show you this one real quick, because it's kind of definitely a hidden gem. It's a beat-em-up game. Very similar to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It's only for one player, but it's an awesome game. You know, that was one of the things that this system lacked, is it didn't have any beat-em-ups on it. That was like this guy. You know, because I loved beat-em-ups, especially like from the 16-bit era, like arcade and stuff. Okay, this is an awesome beat-em-up game. Definitely worth checking out, whether it's like emulators or whatever the case may be. Yeah, it's a lot. Like I said, it's very similar to whatchamacallit, what the hell, Power Rangers. I'm trying to show these guys the combo. Come on, where's all the one-hit guys? I mean, what's with all the one-hit guys? Good music too. I think. Well, anyway, that's Ninja Warriors. Excuse me. Peacekeepers, another great beat 'em up. I'll show you this one real quick, because it's as it was called in Japan, it was called Rushing Beat Sierra, and it was actually a series. I think this is a prequel to Brawl Brothers, but I remember my brother had no, actually, scratch that. I rented this when my brother and I were kids, like back in the 90s, and then my brother bought it shortly after, and I have it myself, because the physical card of this is fairly expensive, at least the last time I checked. But I love this game. One of my favorite beat-em-ups. You can actually change it, too. In the menu, I didn't get into all that, but you can actually change it so, like, right now it's just, like, basically ambience, but you can make it so it's music as well if you want. Because this game has really good music. Oops. You can actually throw them on those mines, too, if I can... Let's see if I can do it. Oh, look at that, I did it. I love those old beat-em-up sound effects. Yeah, catch. I nailed him. Oh, look at Soda, what does he do? Oh, he shoved it up his ass. At least that's what it looked like. But yeah, that's Peacekeepers. Very good beat-em-up. At least I think so. Pilot Wings, that's a classic launch title. Surprised that wasn't on here, so naturally I added it. Pirates of Dark Water. or the part, whatever. I remember this when I was a kid, and I really enjoyed it back then. The cartoon I remember. I don't remember the game, but I remember the cartoon I used to watch when I was a kid. Didn't know there was a game based off of it. It's a beat 'em up for 2 players. It's a good game. Pocky and Rocky 2, very good game. It's like an overhead shooter. I never played the. I mean, I've played the other ones, but this one always really stood out to me as my favorite. Probably because of, well, I've talked about that in other videos. Rock and Roll Racing, awesome game. It's pretty much like, what the hell do you call it? Not stunt race. RC Pro AM, but with you can shoot. Well, yeah, it's a lot like that, but there's like rock and roll music and a lot of like, you know, like 16-bit versions of songs like Paranoid and Bad to the Bone, you know, so it's just really cool. And there's all kinds of like wacky characters and stuff. I vaguely remember this from when I was a kid. Here's a game I do remember from when I was a kid. Saturday Night Slam Masters, which is a wrestling game, but it feels more like a fighting game. But I love that game. It's a classic. Secret of Mana. I don't really remember that from when I was a kid, but it's a good game. That was on here. Space Megaforce. It's a side-scrolling shooter, because, like I said, this kind of lacked those. Sparkster, very good platformer. The Genesis one, Rocket Knight Adventures, was also really good. Very, you know, like I said, one of those platformers that kind of came and went. Star Fox and Star Fox 2, both of those were on here. Second one is okay, but I love the first one. Super Return of the Jedi. Yeah, now we're getting to all the supers. Now, out of the 16-bit Star Wars games, I think Return of the Jedi was my favorite. That's why I did that one. Plus, it's my favorite movie in the series. Super Street Fighter Turbo Hyper Fighting. I kind of wish they went with Super Street Fighter, because... yeah. Sunset Riders. Kind of like... whatchamacallit, Contra, but in the Old West. It's an awesome side-scrolling shooter. It was actually in the arcade. It was ported to the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, which are decent ports, but obviously the arcade version is the best. Super Castlevania 4 it was on here. Super Ghouls and Ghosts, which is... it's beatable, but I've never done it. Super Mario Kart. Yeah, most of these are, of course, most of these games are on the system to begin with, like Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars. That's such a great game. Bit off topic, but can we get Geno in Smash Brothers? You know, Super Mario World, my favorite Mario game of all time. Still, I mean, I like all the new games, but this one really is my favorite. Same with this, Super Metroid. You know, a lot of the new games are good, but love the original. Super Punch Out. Super R-Type, you know, that was the game I added to there, because, like, again, they didn't have any side-scrolling shooters. And, of course, you gotta have Turtles in Time. Like I said, lacking beat-em-ups, like, well, obviously you gotta have Turtles in Time. I was optimistic I wanted this to be on here, but I had a feeling it wouldn't be, because it's, you know, licensing issues and all that. Tetris Attack, because there's no puzzle games on here. This is a good choice for one. I had the physical card of this. My neighbor and I played the crap out of this when we were kids. It's a fun game. Good music, too. Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past. It was already on here. Wild Guns, which is a arcade-style, like, shooter game. It's kind of hard to explain. It's a good game, though. Very good. Actually, I'll just show it to you real quick. I got all the time in the world here. Yeah, Natsume made a lot of great games, especially during the 16-bit era. Oh, sound was a bit delayed, but that's okay. I always liked Clint. This was actually remade, too. I have the Switch version. They added, a bunch of, like, new characters and stuff. It's more, I feel it's more, yeah. You know, obviously the graphics are updated and stuff. You also fight, like, robots and stuff in this, too. It's like, yeah. But it's an awesome game. Hard, but a very good game. But let's move on. There's only a couple more, I believe. Yoshi's Island, which is a classic. That was already on here. Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel, which... this was like a spin-off, basically, because he was a character that was featured in... Arrow the Acrobat, so he was a character in that. I think he just, like, raced Arrow or something, like a rival or something, and they gave him his own game, but... my brother rented this when I was a kid, and it's actually a really good game, but, I mean, some people might be kind of turned off by the title, but it's a great platformer. And last but not least, we have Zombies Ate My Neighbors, another classic, which my brother used to rent it all the time. I actually have it on my Wii Virtual Console, too. But, yep, that's all the games I added to my SNES Classic Edition. I might add a few more, but I don't know, I haven't really decided yet, so... Until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and have a nice day.